out there. Thank you for deciding to tune in to another edition of the Vapors Den. It's so wonderful to have you. My name is Aaron. I'll be your host for a little while. Today, I woke up thinking, well, a video is in order, but I thought to myself, do you have any product reviews on the hot docket? You got anything, in the burner, fired up, ready to go? No, ain't got nothing today. Then I thought, well, we could do a public service announcement style safety video. You do a couple of those. And I said, nah, I don't have anything researched. Got nothing. And then I thought to myself, well, you like to do tutorials, and there's a tutorial you have yet to do, and you do have a thing inside your arsenal of vape gear that needs a little attention, feeling a little left out. And what would that be? It is the RBA, Rebuildable Atomizer System, that came with my TFE4 Mini. Actually, I got two of them with them. And so one of them needs attention. So I thought today I'd turn this video into a tutorial and bring you down to a process that I like to call desk level, get you up close and personal to the device, let you get up close and personal to the procedures and techniques that I do, which of course might be different from you, and that's quite alright, because that's what makes vaping freaking awesome. It's all open to interpretation, it's all open to personal preference and choice and likes and dislikes. There's no right way and there's no wrong way to do this, folks. You just do it the way you like. When you find something that works, you're on like Donkey Kong. So without any further ado, we're going to be whisked away over to my desk. I'm going to bring you desk level, and we're going to proceed with this little RBA tutorial, let you take part in the build, and as we do it, I will talk you through it. And if this is your first time building up one, if you've recently busted into the vaping scene and you're an entry-level person, welcome aboard. It's good to have you. If you bought something that has an RBA and you scratch your head and you're thinking, what the heck's on this? Just note the RBA system I'm going to show you for both my TFE4 minis. I'm only going to do one of them today. An RBA is an RBA. I got one made by Sega Tank, which is an aftermarket system that is meant for my Atlantis V2 made by Aspire. So they're basically the same. One's smaller than the other as far as the Atlantis to the TFE4. They might differ in size, and you might have a bigger one than even I do, or you might have a small one. It's all the same premise, it's all the same principle, it's basically all the same way of doing things. So don't worry, if you're just busting in and you looked on YouTube and you wanted a tutorial and you're just busting in, I'll try to talk this out as calmly and as slowly and as wisely as I can for you. So without any further ado, let's go over to desk level. See you there. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're at a process I like to call desk level. I'm going to give you a quick grocery list as far as the implements, tools that you will need to do this endeavor, and that is build up an RBA system for your sub-owned tank system. So first and foremost, going to need screwdrivers. I have a flathead, a 1.8 mm micro screwdriver here. That's what I use to wrap the wire around to build up the coil. So you're going to need something of some size. 1.8 is just personal preference, and again, vaping's all open to interpretation and personal preference. No right way, no wrong way. If you like 2.0 mm's or 2.2s, 2.4s, 3.0s, whatever would fit your RBA system, and whatever type of coil you prefer to build that you've had the greatest success stories with and you like them and that's your personal preference, then by golly, just build that. You don't exactly have to copy my measurements here, my what I use. Just use your stuff to your personal preference, and everything will be easy breezy. So again, I prefer for RBAs my little 1.8 mm micro screwdriver, and then I have, of course, my Phillips head micro screwdriver that I use to screw down the screws atop the RBA to secure the wire to the deck. So we have that, and for just in case, a pair of pliers. Those will be used to pull cotton through the coil if need be, if your fingertips can't reach it when you first initially push it through. And me, Granted, this is broken, as I stated in my RDA tutorial. I just use this as a foundation. Once the tank's going to be built up, I'm going to put everything foundation-wise on this, and it just gives me a very secure work surface to work on, so I don't need to worry about working atop of a mod or trying to balance it here on this little pad. So this is just personal preference. I like foundations to work on. If you have one of these, it'll come in very handy for an RBA build. Again, I have a set of micro clippers right here that are meant for vape wire, Kenthal, titanium, stainless, whatever you're going to use right here. These little jobs. If you don't have these, pause the video, go to your medicine cabinet, go to your restroom, and bust out a fingernail clippers or toenail clippers. Either which one will work with ultimate satisfaction and get the job done. So don't worry about that if you don't have these. Go get some fingernail clippers. For in case we need a heat pinch after the coil is built, a micro plier right here, needle nose, got one of those. Of course, you're going to need your Kenthal. Today, for this demonstration, I am using my premium A1 22 gauge Kenthal resistance wire. And after everything's going to be juiced up, I'm going to juice it up here with my Vape Wild Strawberry Cotton Candy E-Juice 6 NIC Max VG. You're going to need a mod to fire everything upon. I'm going to be using my IPv4 Basic for this presentation. Not much power is going to be required to fire an RBA to test to see if you got a good fire or not. If your device can say do around 25 watts, if that's the tops for your device, I still think you're in. I would prefer, a device that could do like 30, 35 easy, 40, 45 easy, possibly even 50. But if you have the likes of an IPv4 or you have the likes of a Fuchai 200, you're in. No worries about power right there. But if you're not quite to this level, to both of these devices, and all you got is a little 25 watt tops deal, or maybe a 35 watt tops, or maybe even a 50, the 35 and the 50 will suit you better. But at 25, you'll still get some vape out of an RBA, especially for the TFV4 Mini. Not a problem there. So I'll put that off to the side, and right now I'm going to go and start building up my tank. I'll build up the RBA system first. This is what it looks like right here, folks. This is an RBA for the TFV4. My other ones for my Aspire Atlantis V2s look very, very, very similar, and what they'll do is they'll initially come to you in this position where it looks like an actual TFV4 coil. Just, where's the slits? If it's a quad, it'll look kind of weird. Don't think it weird. This is just the way it comes with. Normally, when you bust it out of your TFV4 Mini box, it will come built up with a micro clamped in here at a 0.5. Of course, I way used that up eons ago, but we're going to build on it all the same. So I'm going to take my foundation. I'm going to take the base here, because this doesn't have any way to stay secure here. I am going to put the RBA, just the deck, not the cylinder wall and top cap, just lightly onto an ohms meter, or ohms reader as they call them. So we got that going on right there. So then, before I even build a coil, before I even attempt that, I will make sure where I know that wire is going to lie or lay down, I will lift this screw up and lift this screw up just to get them ready to receive wire, because like an RDA, the last thing I want to do is worry about lifting up a screw, whatever format it is, Allen, flathead, Phillips. I don't want to lift up a screw and interrupt the positioning and placement of a wire, because that can kind of junk up a build, if you know what I mean. So with that being said, I'm going to bust out my Kenthal wire here. bust it out. Don't need much for an RBA. I'm doing about 4.5, maybe 5 inches, and that's about it. We don't need to waste any Kenthal today. So I take my snips, or you can take fingernail clippers. There we go. We got our strand of Kenthal. And then, of course, I make sure that my wire is put back on the spool. You don't want to put it down prematurely and get it flaring all over. And sometimes this can be a bugger, and yeah, I should pause the video now for it, but I don't like doing that. I don't like editing my videos too much because I like to show people I'm a human being subject to mistakes and accidents, and I'd like to show people what to do in regards to when those things happen, at least what I do, to at least try to maintain calm and get the job done. So I take my 1.8 micro screwdriver, flathead, take my Kenthal resistance wire, 22 gauge, about 5 inches of it right now. I'll take it and place your thumb to the wire, squeeze it to the handle, and then what I do is I do a lead in plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just going to do a 6 wrap today. Just going to do a 6 wrap today. And then I'll pull it out, getting it a little straight, and that's it right there on the, if my camera can focus this in a little bit here. There it is. There's the coil as it is on the so I make sure with the RBA that my wire is opposing, one coming out this way, one going out this way. And now for wire management, I will actually clip the end, make it a little bit more manageable atop the screwdriver. And then what I do is I take my needle nose, grab one, do a little pull, turn it around, grab the other, do a little pull, and that looks pretty damn good just in its condition, present condition. But I'm going to consolidate that a little bit. I take my plier, put it onto the shaft of the screwdriver, put it on down, and between handle and needle nose I put a little bit of a pinch on there to help kind of make that coil a little bit more tighter, a little bit more stronger, a little bit more durable. And so I hold it there for about 10 seconds. And I think we're done with that. So that comes off there. And now what I will do is I will take a little platform here, and I will start lining this up as I see it to be mounted atop here, and it needs a little fiddle. Just needs a little fiddling. So I'll lift up on the screw, slip the wire underneath the screw, and just start securing that portion a little bit. Not ultra tight, but just enough for it to kind of get a little handle. And then I'll take this one. You have to forgive my cat in the background. Oh, that's, as I say in the intros to these possible cameos from the Mighty Pie Pie and the Ices, well, you're hearing the Mighty Pie Pie. Almost there. There we go. Come on. This one's being a little bit of a bugger. Doesn't want
to get underneath that screw. We'll get it. There it goes. I just heard it do the clip. Okay. Gonna have to lighten it. What you want to do now is you want to make sure that this coil is directly centered over the airflow hole that is below it. What the hell's my cat all crying about? Sorry about that, folks. A little theatrical production value going on there. Okay, we have good position there. There we go. Cinch that down. What the hell? Sorry, folks. She's a Sarah Bernhardt's like the sky's falling. Dad, feed me. Feed me. You'll get food after I'm done with this presentation, girl. Alrighty, back to more other matters here. Sorry, folks. There we go. Screw that down nice and tight. Screw this one down nice and tight. And again, like the TFE4 here, this one right here, it's got 4 sets of screws right here. Like, you know, if you build it this way, it'll hold it. If you build it that way, it'll hold it. If you build it this way, it'll hold it. It's very universal. Any type of coil system, single coil that you build for this, it's got the screws to lock it down and hold it down. So, and then what I do is I do just a little bit of positioning here. Just kind of a little seesaw teeter-totter. Oh my God, she is just really going for broke. Sorry, folks. She's fine. Trust me, she's fine. She does this on rare occasions. Okay, now I'm gonna take that screwdriver out here. There we go. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my little clipper here. Gonna go goodbye to that one. Goodbye to that one. And that's where you could use your fingernail clipper. Just get the flat right next to that screw where the Kenthal's sticking out of and goes snip, and you're good to go. Alrighty. This is a built up, mounted, trimmed coil that is centered to the airflow hole below, as it should be. 22 gauge, 6 rep, 1.8 mm screwdriver. This should, when test fired and do the heat and pinch if need be, should be somewhere around the high 0.2s to the low 0.3s. Maybe. We'll see. Alrighty. And when you do your test fire here on your device, such as the IPv4, Sigelli 200, Sigelli 150, Fuchai 200, whatever, make sure that the wattage is down. Don't gun it initially, because this damn thing, I mean, it's not going to explode, but you would more so compromise your build if you fire it too hot initially. Build the heat up. Don't gun it right from the get-go. I have this set at 27 watts. Now, in case, this is where the flathead that came off comes in handy now, in case we need to do what's called the strum, where you need to strum the coils to even the heat flow across the coil. So here we go. Let's see if we can do this. I'm going to do a pre-fire here. Okay, we are showing 0.27 on the ohms meter inside the IPv4. 0.27, and we are going to test fire at 27 watts. It's kind of weird. 0.27. We're at 27 watts. Quinkity. Okay, here we go. Let's a little strum going on here. Both sides are heating up. It's not heating up in the center where we want it. Getting better. And this is just like doing a guitar. You know, you got a guitar pick in your hand and you're going to strum the chords. Very similar. And you want to do this because this process helps distribute the heat evenly across the coil. You don't want hot spots. That'll compromise your vape and take the chance of burning cotton once the cotton is all in there. Nice. Nice glow, nice burn. Okay, and now I'm going to cinch it down again. After the test fire is done, things do have a way of moving when first exposed to heat. So that's tight. And that's tight. Those screws that are retaining the wire are tight. And glowing good. Okay. I can't show it on the camera because my webcam does not like the screen of the IPv4. So what I'm going to do is to show you where I'm at. I'm going to show you a quick slide, 6 to 8 seconds, show you where we're at. And then I will rejoin you on the other side of the slide so that you can actually get a visual on what this looks like. So here we go. See you in about 6 to 8 seconds. Alrighty, we're on the other side of that slide. Again, the webcam doesn't pick up that stuff very good, especially the screen, a shiny screen of the IPv4, so I thought it would be best just take a single still photo and present it to you as a slide, and so you could see the screen and see what I see, so we're all on the same page of sheet music here. We're both doing this together. After I tightened it, initially I was at 0.27 on a couple other fires. It went up to 0.28, 0.30, and then after I did the re-screw down to re-secure to make sure that after the heating up process to forge the coil that things didn't move, and I guess they did a little bit because when I hunkered it back down, cinched it back down to the deck, we're up to, as you saw, 0.35, 0.36, which is awesome. It's an okay. I mean, that's a great middle of the road. 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, that's an awesome vape. It doesn't always have to be like a 0.1, 0.2. It's an awesome vape. A 0.35, heck yeah, I'll take that any day, especially for the TFV4 Mini RBA system. I even take that one for the RBA for my Aspire Atlantis V2. So I will now, because the mod is no longer required to test and get a ohms reading on it now. We know we're playing somewhere around 0.35. I will take that and put the mod off to the side, bring back the ohms meter here, put it down as a foundation, and then what I do, you could take pliers to get this out of here or pinch it on the ends, but I don't do that. I just take my finger here to this lip right there, then I take my finger here and then I just kind of gently start screwing this out and get it nice and loose, but I don't take it out all the way. And then what I do is I take my Japanese organic cotton. You don't need much for an RBA, not like an RDA or in some instance a dual coiled RTA, but we'll get into RTAs later. I'll do another video down the road for those. So what I do is I take my coil, line it up this way, do a side profile, do a rough little guesstimate of what I'm going to need. Nothing too thick. Just a nice little Japanese organic slice of cotton. Again, what you don't use, put back in your bag for future builds. Then I will take this and put this in this position now, going right to left. And then I pinch the end of a cotton. Get it to a nice little fine point right there. Take it. Oh, not good enough yet. Right there. Put it right in there, and this is where having your tweezers come in handy, because it's just right there. So this would be the one and only time that a tweezer would need to be used here to grab the cotton end to the point to where you can pull it out enough that now your fingertips more than can get it. And then pull it through like so, and leave it. I don't cut it in this position, and it will be evident as to why that's important here within the next minute or two. So I now will take, that's why I loosened it up first, because I hate doing this with the wick in there and roughing up the wick trying to get an RBA out of the lower base of a sub-ohm tank. I don't like that, so I always do a little loosening before I go for this process, just to make it a little less roughing up on the wick system, which is pretty good there. Now I take the side wall and the top piece, for it, and then what I do is I will bring this down with a little tiny little itty bitty of a twist, and there's divots. You'll notice there's little divots. It's very similar to the type of a feel on the side of a golf ball. It's just a single divot where you'll feel a little divot in the middle, and that's where your wick has been given room by the manufacturer to reside in. And so I make sure to press it in there, and then kind of do this to kind of rub it in there a little bit. And now that one is done. And now I take it and I do the same thing on this side. Finish down there at the bottom. Okay. Okay, that's residing very nicely. Very nicely, that's residing. So that's basically the way things are looking here. Very similar to an RDA coil and wicking system, but other than putting it underneath a coil as you would in an RDA and making sure there's proper airflow, you are putting this in the sides into these little divots that the company has provided you. Just making sure. And it looks like we have good placement, which we do. Now, before I take this top cap and put it on here and start screwing it down to secure those wicks, I will do one last check and feel if anything needs to be maybe trimmed as far as that wire. That one feels good. This one feels like it could use just a little bit. go. There we go. Because if that protrudes too much, this won't go on. There we go. Screw it on down. Screw it on down. Then nice and tight. And now as you see, your wicks will protrude out the sides as they should through the holes in the divot provided by the manufacturer. Then bring them out nice and straight as you can without tugging on them. Don't tug on them. And so now we're almost done, folks. Believe it or not, we're in the home stretch now. Take a pair of scissors, put it nice and flush. Bingo. Done. Protruding out a little bit is desired for it to catch the juice. That little protrusion of the wick will not hurt anything. I put my hand flat, put it down, making sure that the wick is as in the upright position as it can. Right there. Take my scissor, bam, just like that. And then just kind of do a little tap on the wick here, a little tap on the wick there. Alright. Well, folks, ladies and gentlemen, if you followed this step by step using your tools and whatever, measured micro screwdriver you like to build your coil on and stuff like that, if you went step by step with me, used your tools, your measurements, your math, your preferences, you just built right along with me a TFV4 Mini RBA system for the TFV4 sub-ohm tank. And again, this process is the same as you would find on a Sega tank for an Aspire Atlantis V2 or V1. Very similar, very similar. An RBA is an RBA. So if you followed my procedure with a different system, it should have worked. Now, I will take this off and then take your coil. Now it is an actual coil. You can actually call this a coil now. It's a true blue real McCoy now. Put your coil in there. And then what I do, and for this presentation, again, I'm going to use the Vape Wild Strawberry Cotton Candy Max VG Flavor Boost 6 Nick. This is important to do because you will see down in there. See, there's the system right there. You see those wicks protruding to the right and to the left right there? Well, I'm going to take and I'm going to drop just a couple drops of juice right on that left, and now I'm going to do it on the right. Don't get it down into the airflow hole that's directly below the coil. Try to keep that juice on the outer side. Well, you don't want it dripping into that hole, and you really don't want it dripping atop the coil, because if it gets on coil 8 times out of 10, it's going to go down to that air hole, and it could really gunk up the build. So with that, that's in there. The wicks are primed now. Take the outer glass, Pyrex glass, mount it right there, and then I take the top fill system right there. I will slide the top, get it to be like 1, and then come on down and start screwing this to the top of the coil. Bingo, got good seal. It is strong. And then I'll take this and I'll put this back onto the ohms meter that I only use as a foundation. I will take now the drip tip, put it on there. Ta-da! We have a reassembled TFE4 Mini sub-ohm tank system. We have a built to 0.35 ohms microcoil residing inside an RBA system. And now, to finish this off, I am going to start juicing and dripping my juice inside this tank. And there it goes, it's starting to fill. Again, this is Vape Wilds Strawberry Cotton Candy 6 Nic Max VG. It's 80% VG. Get one more squeeze. There we go. We're good to go. It is topped off. Slide the top cap back, or whatever tank you have. Like with an Atlantis, you're gonna have to, do a lot of screwing it back in, especially if you're filling, because you'll have to turn yours upside down, fill, and be very careful here. But this is one reason why I love the TFE4s. My stainless steel and this jet black one, love them. And then what I do is, for protection, I will replace its tank protector ring in here in case it falls back and forth. And I'm not going to have you wait so long. I normally allow my wick systems, both store-bought coils and RBA systems. To me, a coil is a coil and a wick is a wick, and they need to be treated equally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this bad boy wick up for the next 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm not going to have you wait. I'm not going to waste your time like that. You will be at warp speed launched 10 to 15 minutes in the future, but here I'm going to remain in real time and wait it out. So I will see you on the other side of the wick up process. It'll just be a blink of an eye for you. Here you go.
Alrighty folks, we're on the other side of the wick up process. Again, I didn't want you waiting. I let it go for 15 minutes and I wasn't going to hold you that long. So 15 minutes for me, a split second for you, as it should be. As you can see, here's the TFE4 Mini with the newly built RBA inside of it. 15 minutes wick up time, and I treat it just as I said before, the flashing you, warp speeding you into the future. I told you a coil is a coil and a wick system is a wick system to me, and I treat it all the same. I allow the same amount of time for wick up. That means the wick's absorbing the e-juice, bringing it up into the coil, and making sure that it has good saturation, so that when we're going to start priming it here real soon, start doing some test hits on it and seeing some vapor production, I know that that thing has juice. I won't get a dry hit. I won't take a chance of burning through the wick because it hasn't been properly juiced up. That's the kind of stuff you need to do. At least I do it. You might have your secret way of doing it, and that's quite all right. Again, vaping, all interpretational, all open to personal preference. No right or wrong way. It's what you want. It's like Burger King. Have it your way. So let me take a vape here off of my big boy here. Fuchai 200 with a Buddha V1. I need to get a little vape in. So I'm going to, again, still having it on the ohms meter. I'll take it off. Bye bye ohms meter. It's the index build. Take the trusty IPv4 as you saw previously. Gonna mount it on there, and I'm going to keep the wattage the same as it was when we were doing the test fire to see the ohms in the first place. I'm going to keep it at 27, and we're going to build up. I normally do that for safety's sake. I will not gun this thing, go balls to the wall with it right on its very first trial run. I build up to it. It trains and conditions the wicks. It's more safer for you. It's more pleasurable for you. It reinforces the forge of the coil. It also keeps the heat down for in case there's anomalies that weren't predicted. You can better deal with them and have time to react if need be. And again, 27 watts, IPv4, TFE4 mini, RBA, built to 0.35, as you saw on the slide earlier. So here we go. And what I do is I treat it just like a store-bought. Like if I put a quad coil in there, I treat it just the same way. I do priming puffs. I'm not hitting the trigger to the point where I now taste strawberry cotton candy in the air without it burning. I now just naturally am getting a hint, and that means them wicks are juiced up proper. So here we go. First little test fire here. And I go slow. Again, build up to everything. You'll get the good cloudage eventually, but be a couple minutes patient. Build up to it for safety and security. And it ensures a more pleasurable vape when everything's all well oiled and juiced up and worked in like a well oiled catcher's glove. Well, that's pretty flavorful. First time I've had this strawberry cotton candy in a sub-ohm tank. I normally do it on an RDA where it's fair to middling. Tastes better in here. Well, look at that. Look at that. We have good cloud production. Now I'm going to pump this up to 28. Give it a go. Wow. Flavors enhanced, increased just a little bit. It's less harsh because now there's going to be little residuals of the wick that don't get automatically absorbed or saturated by e-juice. There's a little dispersion of the wick, which is a little burn off, and it can be a little harsh, not sandpapery, but a little harsh, and the juice is coming into its own, into the wick. It's a little bit of a negotiation. They all have to work together and handshake and do some type of negotiation and work out a deal. Nice. Now I'm going to pump it up to 29. Every one or two puffs I take at a certain wattage, I bump it up to build more heat on the coil, to train those wicks a little bit more better, to more quickly bring that juice to the coil. It also cuts down on the thermodynamics of the sub-ohm tank itself. It doesn't overstress a mod, whatever mod you have. So here we are, 29. Woo! Nice and flavorful. The harshness has gone away. Flavors there. Strawberry cotton candy. We'll do one more at 29 and I'll pump it up to 30 and go no further. Oh, that is nice. And here we go. We're going to our last position, 30. Don't know if you can see that or not. Very nice. Very nice. I'm satisfied with this build. I'm satisfied with the experience. I'm satisfied for the rest, as long as this build is intact and stays good. I'm very satisfied that I'm going to have pleasurable vapes here in the future if I choose to use the RBA system for the TFE4 minis that I have. This is good. Again, if you're brand new, entry level, just busting into the build scene, and an RBA is what you choose to build on for your very first build or two, be advised, you might have dabbled into store-bought coils for your sub-ohm tanking system, similar to like an Atlantis V1, V2, the Triton, the Aspire Mega Tank, or a Hercules tank, or a TFE4, TFE4 mini tank, whatever it might be. You might have dabbled in store-bought coils like triple coil, dual clamped in, quad coil, whatever it might be for your system. An RBA is going to be a much different experience than a store-bought coil. And number one is, I mean, it's pre-manufactured. It's, you know, pretty much machines making it, and it's a real tight, compact build in there. A lot of stuff's going into a very small cylinder, and when it gets to you, there's a lot of stuff going on in there, and it makes it for a much more different feeling experience. Whereas with an RBA, there's not a whole lot of stuff going on in there. A single horizontal coil, 6 wraps, 22 gauge Kentall, single strand wicking system, a lot of airspace in there. There's not a whole lot of compactness going on in there, so it's going to feel different. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And the last thing I want to do is kind of do a minor PSA here, a little public service announcement for safety and your personal security with this thing. You might have your preference, and you might have built RBAs if you're a novice, intermediate, or an advanced person watching this for poops and giggles. Or you could be the actual entry-level person, to where most of my videos are geared for. If you're watching this and you just built up your RBA, be very careful, and this is where the PSA comes in. When you're building on an RDA, a rebuildable dripping atomizer, RDA, you could build a 0.3 like we just did today for the RBA. RBA, rebuildable atomizer. RDA, rebuildable dripping atomizer. Two different beasts. And the same rules for an RDA do not apply to an RBA. Kind of similar, kind of cousins of each other. Smaller micro here, bigger RDA there. I mean, my Buddha V1's a perfect example. But mathematics, got to do a little mental math when you're building up your RBA. If you build RDAs and you build them to 0.3 and you're blasting them with 60 watts, that's perfect. That's great. Do it every day of the week, 5 ways come Sunday. But when you build up the RBA and you're going to use it in a sub-tank system, you got to do a little mental math for your own safety. If you're doing a 0.3 RDA dual coil, dual wick at 60, half that. Divide it by 2. Bring it down to 30. I vape 0.3s in the 0.3 spectrum on my RDAs at around 55, 60 watts. For the RBA, divide it by half, divide it by 2. Whatever you do on an RDA, divide it by 2 and bring that to here. And here would be 30 watts, and that's where we are right now. I might, just for more vape, maybe pump it up to 31, 32, but never anywhere past 35. I have like between 30 and 35 as my tweak and tune, and I won't go any further than that, just for safety and security purposes. So just be advised, do a little mental math. RDAs, 0.3, 60 watts, not a problem. Going to build up your RBA and use it, half that, divide it by 2, slam it down to 30. It's only a single coil you need to worry about providing electricity to for it to heat up. So real nice. Again, different experience, a different feel. It's not a store-bought coil system. And again, if you burn your RDA at 60 on a 0.3, half it, divide it by 2, bring it down to 30. As soon as you build up to that, you will have a very wonderful, pleasurable RBA experience for whatever sub-ohm tank system you're building it for. So on that note, I think I'll have a couple exit vapes with you. Again, I think I earned it. We were actually able to do a build the first time out. Those RBAs, they can be a little tricky. I've had some unsuccessful builds, 1, 2, maybe I think I had 3 at one time, unsuccessful in a row until the 4th time was the winner. And it's all learning experience. And please, if you didn't get it right the first time and you're going to go rewatch the video, you're going to do it again. Remember, I'm there with you, step by step. I'm trying to talk you through it, and don't beat yourself up. This is an acquired craft. This is an acquired art. You're not going to be building, perfectly right out of the gate. Took me some time to learn, both for RDAs, RBAs, RTAs. We'll get into RTAs down the road. I might do an RTA tutorial in the next couple weeks. It's come into its own. It's real nice now. Soft. It's not harsh. Flavor's good. Still vaping off the top. Well, folks, it's been a pleasure having you here inside the Vapors Den. It was a pleasure taking you to desk level and walking you through step by step, especially if you're an entry-level person. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the world of vape. If you're busting into the build scene for your first couple times here and you decided to watch my video as your RBA tutorial, again, welcome aboard. It was a pleasure having you. I wish and hope many successful builds for you in the future. And awesome. You chose vape. Awesome. Alrighty. Well, you guys take them on easy. I'll have more videos upcoming here in the future. I'll do an RTA tutorial in the next 2 weeks. But until then, thank you for being here. Hope you're having a wonderful day or night, whatever it is you so chose to watch this video. And it was a pleasure having you here. And until I see you again, take them on easy, be well, vape well, good times. Take them on easy. Bye-bye.